Welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. Here's what's coming up on the program. It's another joyous occasion for the people of Bayelsa State as they converge on Yenagoa for the second term inauguration of Governor Doye Diri following his re-election in last November's polls. House of Representatives steps down bill seeking to amend the educational qualification for the office of President, Vice President, governors and their deputies, amongst others. And a new twist in Benue APC leadership crisis as suspended chairman Austin Agada has now been reinstated by the court days after his welfare secretary was inaugurated as acting chairman by the governor.
And of course, Honorable...
Those are live pictures from the Bayelsa State capital, Yenagoa, getting set for the inauguration of the second term of Governor Doye Diri. The governor had won his re-election bid during last November's governorship election, beating his closest rival in the All Progressives Congress. The governor polled 175,196 votes to defeat his closest rival, Mr. Timipri Silva of the All Progressives Congress, who polled about 110,000 votes, while the Labour Party polled 905 votes. So any moment from now, that city comes alive as we see people converging on that venue to witness the inauguration for the second term of Governor Doye Diri. We understand that the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, is going to be the special guest of honor during this inauguration. So that's it. You have the very first, the third governor to be inaugurated after the elections that were done in November. We had Kogi, then we had Imo, and then now we have Bayelsa State Governor being inaugurated for a second term in office. But we're going to switch gears right now quickly to the elections that are coming up in Edo State. And this month, this Friday, this Saturday, or this weekend, the APC will be having their primary. On the 22nd will be the turn of the PDP, and then on the 23rd will be the turn of the Labour Party primaries. All of these trying to pick a nominate candidate for the election coming up later on in the year. So we're being joined on the program by a member of the Edo State Executive Council of the People's Democratic Party is joining us via Zoom, Mr. Tony Okonigene. Mr. Okonigene, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for having me.
I will quickly ask you about your immediate reaction to the development in Bayelsa State. So Governor Doye Diri has won his re-election, as we know, and now he's been inaugurated. I don't know what, as a party, what should you be telling the people? I know it's not your state, but it's your political party. What should the people of Bayelsa State be expecting from the leadership of the PDP in that state?
Well, what I can say is that the leadership, the people of Bayelsa State have made the right choice of sticking with PDP. And PDP is a truly democratic party that has the interest of the people at heart. So I know that since they have given me a second tenure, the governor is going to leverage on what he has done in the first tenure, because people actually saw what he has done in the first tenure for them to give him that massive vote. During the first tenure, there was about to be a change of government because of the votes that went in. But I think Diri was able to do something, do the right things at the right time to get the people's minds. That was why that his second re-election was something overwhelming. So I expect that the PDP, being a party of the people, we really try to put Bayelsa people on course. So they should expect something good. For now.
All right, let's switch gears now to your state, Edo State, where a decision will be made as to who becomes the flag bearer or standard bearer of your party come sometime in September when the governorship election will hold, and you're the incumbent at the party in power at the state level. But the screening that was done came with its own issues, and those issues are still on. But I want to find out from you, what is the bone of contention in this latest dispute surrounding delegate election? It appears apparently that not all parties are excited or happy about the outcome.
Well, Jeff, I can tell you that I've been in PDP for quite some time, and I have participated in a lot of delegate congresses as far as the party is concerned. The one that was held this month was the best I've ever witnessed, and it came out in accordance with the guidelines of the party, the constitution of the party, the Electoral Act. What people should really come to terms with in Edo State PDP is the fact that the National Working Committee, as currently constituted, is doing everything possible to ensure that we have rancor-free congresses so that PDP can go into any election as a united house. We had very, very bad experiences last time because there was no unity in the party. Rancors were here, and it affected our performance during the general elections. And
Mr. It's difficult to agree that it's rancor-free because 9 out of the 10 aspirants that were screened by the party at the national level are not happy with the outcome of that exercise. But you're saying it's the best. In their words, they don't see it as the best. But let me ask you a few more questions as you respond to that. Let's break it down as to how this is done. Who conducts these congresses? Is it the state or the National Working Committee? And does the governor or the government has a role at the state level in the process? Because those are the allegations being made by the other 9 people who said, look, something is not right. There's a bias in this whole process.
Well, I want you to understand that what has been done is the issue of delegate congresses. The stakeholders in this past congresses that we had are the aspirants who bought forms and contested as delegates, not aspirants who are going for a governorship election. So if 9 people are talking and we have a situation whereby in the 192 wards, there are 3 delegates and we have 3 delegates each. In the 192 wards, we have national delegates. We are talking of over 570-something delegates. And these people are not coming out to come and complain that this thing was not done rightly. Then I think it's expected the issue of sore losers. The guidelines of the party are very, very clear. The Supreme Court also is very, very clear. The Electoral Act 2022 is very, very clear as to who conducts these delegate congresses. The congresses are conducted by the National Working Committee, taking authority from the National Executive Committee of the party. And these congresses are to be monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And once these things are done, we have guidelines that must be followed. For example, I want to give you the steps that we are taking in these congresses that were conducted by the party. The guideline expects that the National Working Committee, you are supposed to bring out the venues. Jeffrey, I want to tell you that what caused the rancors in the last general elections for the PDP was that venues were not announced. They were not published. The Electoral Act is very clear. Once the venues are published by the National Working Committee of the party, through the by the National Executive Committee of the party, through the National Working Committee, INEC must report to those venues that are published. Those aspiring delegates should report there. And the supporters should report to those
I understand your position. I'm trying to race against time as much as possible. I can take as many questions as possible. The reason I was very deliberate in asking you who conducts the exercise, whether it's the national or the state, is because they are alleging, the other 9 members are alleging that the governor had a hand in all of this. That's the point I was trying to make. So what is the basis? What did they see that they are alleging?
Well, I don't know where they are coming from, but the National Executive Committee, through the National Working Committee, conducts delegates congresses. And the governor, like any other party member, any other registered party member is also an interested party in the whole thing who participates in the Congress. The governor will go to his ward to vote for whosoever he wants to vote. He does not have any influence. He does not have any way. Like in my ward now, the governor did not come to my ward to vote for or to say anything about who becomes 3 ad hoc delegates, but he went to his own ward to go and vote. That is where the governor's influence starts and ends when it comes to the national, this issue of 3 ad hoc delegates. But it's being conducted right by the National Working Committee of the party, which was done.
So by the information you have, did these 9 aspirants, did they participate in the exercise to the best of your knowledge?
Well, the information I have, I know that Ambassador Martins Moe was in his ward where he went to participate. I also know that somebody like Omosode Ibenedion was in her ward physically. I'm talking about those that were physically present. I know that somebody like Anselmo Jesua sent his details to get a delegate form for him to participate. And in his ward, he was represented by an agent of his. In fact, he was even voted for as one of the ad hoc delegates.
So another grievance, because I'm trying to bring
from what we have, they participated.
Okay, I didn't know you were. You can land on your thoughts before I ask my next question.
No, I think I've landed. You can continue.
Okay, the reason I ask is because one of the concerns people like Anselm and the rest were raising the fact that they are the people that were screened by the party, and then Governor Mba from Enugu State, who is supposed to be in charge of the Congress as stipulated by or as scheduled and as appointed by the National Working Committee, did not even have, perhaps in their word, the courtesy of meeting them at least as stakeholders, and they were very unhappy about it. Do you think that that actually sent a wrong signal to them that something may not be right?
Well, I will encourage anyone who wants to go into a contest or who wants to go into any program to actually sit down and read and digest the rules of the game. In this case, if you say that you want to aspire as a governor, to become a governor, and you are going to a delegate Congress, you should sit down, read what does the Constitution say, what does the Electoral Act say, what are the guidelines that have been released by the party. It's very, very clear. In this issue, we are all aware that Governor Makinde was appointed as the chairman of this Congress committee. Makinde threw in the towel a day before the Congresses were done. And if you are familiar with all the processes that are to be done, election matters are time-bound. And before Makinde threw in the towel, all the processes had already been done. The electoral officers have been assigned their wards where the materials were already there, they're already in motion before Makinde threw in the towel. Mba was appointed, I think, in the morning of that, the day of the Congress, and so which he took over as the chairman. And they should understand, the guidelines say that they are to monitor. They came as a monitoring team on behalf of the National Working Committee. The National Working Committee conducts, but they now send people to the state, while people also sent to the wards. So the wards were already there, the electoral officers that will monitor each ward, and the INEC officials also reported to these wards. So when these elections, the congresses were done, the wards were to report to the state, to local government, then the local government will now report to the state to collate. So that Mba did not meet with them as stakeholders. In any case, the Electoral Act did not define that.
I think Mr. Okonigan, I think at the end of the day, what some of them are speculating, and I'm sure the governor has denied this as well, but I don't know what your response is that the governor has a preferred candidate in all of this, which is why what is going on is going on. And if that is true, well, it's an allegation. We know that the governor is an advocate against godfatherism, so I don't know how you just suppose all of the situation. Why are they feeling like the governor has an anointed candidate, perhaps in one of them who is aspiring to be governor or succeed him?
Well, Jeff, one thing I have to tell you is that authoritatively, I'm a member of the State Executive Committee of this party. I was the publicity secretary of the special committee that was set up in Edo Central Senatorial District, where most of the aspirants hail from. We were trying to streamline the aspirants. That committee was chaired by our respected leader, High Chief Tommy Kim. So we met with all the aspirants from Edo Central Senatorial District. I can tell you authoritatively that at no time did we receive any message or any encouragement or whatsoever from the governor about a preferred aspirant or no preferred aspirant. The aspirants were looked at by merit. They were encouraged to go into the field. They were encouraged to go and reach out to leaders of the party and to take positions on positions that the governor has a preferred candidate. Yes, he might have a preferred candidate, but the governor has not used the influence of his office in any way to say that he wants to influence any aspirant to be a preferred candidate. I can say that authoritatively. Nothing like that, sir.
All right, so the governor will be able to speak for himself at the end of the day. But I thank you for your insight, Mr. Tony Okonigene, the member of the State Executive Council of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. And I wish you the very best and your party as well.
Thank you very much.
Let's move on now to other stories. The House of Representatives has stepped down a bill to amend the 1999 Constitution that intends to raise the level of qualification needed for the contest for the position of President, Vice President, Governor, Deputy Governor, members of the National Assembly, as well as state assemblies from primary school leaving certificate to degree, university degree, or its equivalent. The bill was presented for a second reading by Mr. Adewumi Odonuga, who led the debate, but some lawmakers kicked against it. Our correspondent Dele Moini reports.
It's the first plenary session of the week in the House of Representatives. The Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is the presiding officer. He reads the first order of the day and invites the sponsor of the bill, Adewumi Odonuga, to lead the debate on the bill.
It can also be counterproductive if people who are not sufficiently prepared educationally get into these elective offices.
The bill is a contentious one as it seeks to amend the Constitution to raise the level of qualification needed to contest key positions in the country from primary school certificate to a bachelor's degree or its equivalent.
Honorable Jimmy, please.
While some are in support,
Anybody who is going to oppose this bill must also tell us if his child, is in a university for a degree or not.
And understand what you are reading and come up with something. Look, Mr. Speaker, the world is moving. Let Nigeria not be left behind.
Others resisted vehemently.
Mr. Speaker, for less privilege, we were privileged to go to the university. For less privileged people, it is not their wish that their children were not to be able to obtain university certificate or age equivalent. Substantial number of Nigerians are less than degree holders. And now you are saying only a degree holder can be enfranchised. And we end up disenfranchising more than 90% of our population. Are we fair to our people?
The House then steps down the consideration of the bill for further legislative action.
This bill is stepped down with the leave of the House.
The House also urged the Federal Ministries of Power, Petroleum Resources, and relevant agencies of government to compel the oil and gas producing companies engaged in gas flaring to immediately convert flared gases to electricity for the benefit of the communities.
All the Federal Ministries of Power, Petroleum Resources, and other relevant agencies of government to compel the oil and gas producing companies engaged in gas flaring to immediately build cottage hospitals as well as convert flared gases to electricity for the benefit of Oyibo time.
The House then adjourns plenary till Wednesday, the 14th of February, 2024. Dele Moini, Channels Television News.
Let's head up not too far away from the nation's capital in Benue State, where the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Austin Agada, has resumed his official duties following his reinstatement by the Makurdi High Court, presided over by the State Chief Judge, Justice Maurice Ikpabese, on Monday. Mr. Agada, who arrived at the party secretariat, which was under heavy security protection before now, was welcomed by party supporters amidst cheers with a call for peace when he extended the olive branch to other groups that are in disputes with them. The chairman used the occasion to thank the judiciary for standing by democracy and pledge his support to the secretary to the government of the Federation for standing with the party as his leader and pillar of support.
I extend my thanks to the judiciary for its courageous stand in the face of undoubtedly institutional pressures and challenges. I do not intend to use this platform as a narrative to tell the orchestration chain of events that has taken us these unnecessary routes. I only wish to assert that the APC under my leadership in Benue State is forging ahead on an irreversible train of service delivery to our people, and I call on all and sundry not to be left behind. I want to use this medium to thank His Excellency, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, our own leader, Senator Dr. George Akume, for his unparalleled devotion to the good fortunes of our party and delivering of the dividends of democracy to Benue State and Nigeria at large in a rationalization of the Renew Hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government. Senator Dr. George Akume is indeed an icon that deserves our collective and continuous prayers and best wishes and support.
Now, human rights activist and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, is asking the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to stop meddling in the running of affairs of Nigeria or the country. The senior lawyer also challenged the global body to stop setting double standard for Africa and European countries. He was speaking earlier on our program, Politics Today.
There's no society, there's no country in the world where government does not subsidize one product or the other, even in the most advanced capitalist societies. And that is why Nigerians must now begin to ask the government to discard and jettison the deleterious programs and policies of the IMF and World Bank. Because just yesterday, the IMF was asking the government remove fuel subsidy in its entirety and also increase electricity tariff. Whereas the government had told the nation and the IMF and World Bank, come, the political atmosphere in the country is not conducive to electricity tariff because our people are suffering. The government is subsidizing the discourse. The only economic body recognized by the Constitution to advise the president is the National Economic Council, headed by the vice president. And that body is peopled by the governors, the governor of the central bank, state governors, the governor of the central bank, the minister of finance. So why has that body abdicated its responsibility to the IMF and World Bank? The report of the 2020 report of the Auditor General of the Federation sent to the National Assembly last November. That report is saying that the $3.5 billion, the loan of $3.5 billion taken by Nigeria from the IMF cannot be located. That is what the report is saying. The IMF should be interested in that. Because we are required to pay the loan in 4 years, between 2023 and 2027. So the IMF should be interested in that and stop mounting pressure on the government to multiply the hardship of Nigerians. And the government must summon the courage to tell this institution to mind their business and allow our country to be run in the interest of our country.
A lot said by the senior advocate. Let's move on now. The People's Democratic Party is maintaining its position that the president should urgently address the country's worsening security situation and the economy as it is getting unbearable for citizens. The opposition party made a call at its 76th Board of Trustees meeting in Abuja. The meeting also confirmed the appointment of former Senate President Senator Adolphus Wabara as a substantive chairman of the PDP BOT.
To be on its feet
It is the 76th meeting of the People's Democratic Party's Board of Trustees, attended by the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and members of the National Working Committee. The meeting is convened to discuss the operations of the party's National Working Committee, threats to the unity of the party, and also to take some decisions regarding the leadership of the party's Board of Trustees.
Now, the issue of tribunals and electoral cases are over. There's no better time to kickstart the process of rebuilding this party than now.
The governors have also asked me to tell you that we are working to make sure that we repositioned with you, the party, and reduce and minimize rancor and division which had characterized us in the past because of our size and our divergent interests.
Before the meeting goes into a closed-door session, the acting chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees underscores the need for the PDP to remain united.
We know that there are plans to turn this country into a one-party state. And that is only when we allow it. Our role as the Board of Trustees, the main organ of this party, is to ensure that this party does not die.
The meeting then proceeds into a technical session.
Thank you very much.
Some moments later, the acting BOT chairman reads the communique of the meeting.
The BOT calls on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to know that the situation in the country has become unbearable. Mr. President should immediately address the issues of corruption in his administration, worsening insecurity in the country, continuous fall in the value of the naira, high fuel prices, unbearable food scarcity, and unemployment in the country.
Apart from the demand on President Tinubu, the meeting also confirmed the appointment of Senator Wabara as the substantive chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees.
And just before we wrap up the program, the embattled chairman of Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Fatai Adams, has died. Mr. Adams was reported to have died in the early hours of today, February the 14th, 2024. The State Working Committee of the party had earlier in January 2024 suspended Mr. Adams on allegations of anti-party activities. The publicity secretary of the party in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Perete, has also written a condolence message commiserating with the family as well as the entire people of Ondo State over this development. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.